Hi everyone, it's Lynnea from LDRS Creative, and I'm here to show you the floral silhouette kit from LDRS Creative sold only at HSN. This is an 8-piece kit, and it consists of a 6-piece die set as well as 2 6x6 stencils. This die set is really fun because there are 2 large flowers, and they are going to cut the outline of these images. And then you have the flower piece as well as the greenery piece that is separate, and it's a solid die cut image that you can layer behind these flowers to give you a silhouette look. There are also 2 6x6 stencils. This first one is this really pretty rose design with the flowers and the petals, and you can do some easy masking to create your different colors. And then there is this floral, almost like a burst stencil. It's really pretty for backgrounds. I am actually going to be using both of these stencils in today's project, and then I'll be using one of the large flower dies as well. The packaging comes with the sizing for the dies, which is quite convenient so you know how large these flowers are. The flower that reminds me of a peony is about 3 inches by 4.6 inches, and the flower that reminds me of a tulip is about 2.4 by 4.6 inches. So these flowers really are quite large. They are large enough to be the statement piece on your cards, and they are fabulous for creating all kinds of card types and sizes. Here I've shown you what these images look like when they are cut out. You can see that beautiful outline design and how they come to life when you layer those solid pieces behind them. I love how they look, and we're going to be taking advantage of that in today's tutorial. I'm going to be using the flower that looks like a tulip on today's card, so I wanted to start by showing you a project using this other flower so you can see how gorgeous it is. I die cut that piece many times and use that to create a background, and it looks like stained glass. And I played off of that to create that center image as well. Let's go ahead and dive right into today's project. I'm going to be creating a fun fold card. It's a Z fold with a band at the bottom. This is a really easy tutorial. I'm starting with a piece of cardstock that is 5 inches by 11 inches. And I'm going to make a couple of score marks. I'm going to score at 2 3/4 inches as well as 5 1/2 inches. And so when you fold this together, you're going to get the base of your Z fold card. Again, the base is 5 by 11, and I scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2 inches. For the band, I need a piece that is 1 1/2 inches by 11 inches, and I'm making those same score marks, 2 3/4 inches and 5 1/2 inches. Then I'm going to fold these back and forth onto each other. I do like to use those score lines, and I'll fold it one way and then I'll fold it the other way. And I will just bend this cardstock back and forth to make sure that it's going to bend and fold easily once this is a completed card. You see me here, I folded and scored, reinforced that score line one way, and then I flipped it the other way, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to repeat this for all of the score lines until I have the band as well as my card base nice and ready to go, and then we'll move on to the decorative portion. Here you can see that everything is folded. I have folded it so that it looks almost like a book, so fold it in half like a regular card and then fold that front panel back towards you, and you can see it makes a Z or a W depending on how you hold it. But if you stand it up onto itself, it looks like a Z. You want that back panel to be the biggest, and then those front two are the same size. Here's the band. Same score marks, same technique, except we are going to end up flipping this so that the long side adheres to the short side of the card, and the short side of the band adheres to the long side of the card. And I'll show you this again once we move on to assembling this card. It's quite simple. I also need to have some background panels. The panels that are going to fit onto my base, I have cut slightly smaller, so there's a small border. So my mats are 2 1/2 inches by 4 3/4 inches, and I've cut 2 of them, one for each of those side panels that you see on the left. The large panel is 5 1/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. I've done the same for the band. That long piece is 5 1/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches, and then I have cut 2 pieces that measure 2 1/2 inches by 1 1/4 inch. This is where we're going to be using the 2 stencils from the Floral Silhouette Kit. This is going to help create our background. I'll start with the band pieces and this floral burst design. Now the band piece is longer than the design of the stencil. That is no problem. I'm just going to leave that bit hanging off the edge of the stencil, and then I will slightly shift my stencil to complete that pattern. So I'm starting by taking that long mat, and again that is 5¼ inches by 1¼ inches, and I'm going to tape that onto the back of my stencil. I've added some blue ink and I've removed that stencil, and now I'm going to shift that image down and just come back in with my blue ink and continue on ink blending over that stencil, and now I have one complete long panel. If there are any imperfections, don't worry. We're going to be covering that up with a sentiment anyway. I just wanted to make sure that I had ink onto that panel. Here's a little trick for you when stenciling the 2 smaller panels. Again, they each measure 2½ inches by 1¼ inch. I have taped them on together so that I can get a continuous ink blended look. They are perfectly sized for this stencil. I've added that same blue ink over the stencil, and I will set these 3 pieces aside, and I'm going to work on the next pieces. These are the larger pieces, the ones that are going to be on the actual card base. And again, I'm going to start with the largest one. This measures 5¼ inches by 4¾ inches, and I have this rose design. I'm going to take my masking tape and tear it up into little pieces and cover the flowers to start with so that I can blend green ink over top of the leaves and not have that green ink cross-contaminate into my flowers. If you want to use a smaller blending brush, you absolutely could, or if you wanted to have that ink overlap a little bit. Your projects are handmade and they are beautiful, so any way that you ink blend, I guarantee you these cards are going to turn out amazing. I'm just going to come in with my green ink and blend all over this panel, and then I'm going to remove it and move on to my other panels, and I'll add the green ink onto the others. Now it's time to add the color to the flowers. I've removed all of that masking tape and I've replaced my stencil over top of my card panel. Now I'm going to take some masking tape again and mask off those leaves, and that's going to allow me to add color to the rose images. I chose to add a whole rainbow of colors, but if you wanted to keep it simple, you could just add one single color. Again, handmade projects are always beautiful, so do what your heart wants to do. I chose pink, purple, and yellow for my flowers, and I'm just going to go in and add some color to all of these roses. Once I have finished with this largest panel, I will move on to these 2 smaller panels. Again, they measure 2½ inches by 4¾ inches, and I will add the same 3 colors, the pink, the purple, and the yellow, onto those panels as well. My ink blending is now complete, and it really didn't take that much time, and I love that I can completely customize my background. Now it's time to add these mats onto the card. I'm just going to use liquid adhesive, but you could use tape runner or whatever kind of adhesive you like to use on your projects. I will add the smaller panels onto the smaller folds of that Z-fold card base, and that large panel goes on the back of the card base. I'm going to do the same thing for the band and just adhere those pieces in place using my liquid adhesive. I like to use liquid because that gives me some wiggle room, but again, use what you have. So here are my pieces, and this is how I'm going to adhere them together. The long side of that band is going to get adhered to the short side of the card. The short side of the band is going to get adhered to the long side of the card. I like to do this by placing the short side first, making sure that I'm lining up those edges just perfectly so they are flush with the edge of the card. Then I can fold my card closed and add adhesive onto just the right side of the band, and make sure that that adhesive is not going to get anywhere that I don't want it to go. I only want it on that left side flap. I like to close the card and adhere the band together. That way I can be sure that this card is going to fold flat so that I can put it in the mail. Here's the card base all complete. Now let's work on these flowers. I have die cut 2 of the flowers that I think look like a tulip, and I have cut them out of black cardstock, and I've layered them together. So each of these flowers have 2 layers of the outline, and that just gives it some extra dimension. And then I'm adding some liquid adhesive to the back of those die cut pieces, and I'm going to add those solid pieces behind. I've cut green for the leaves, and I have one flower that's going to be pink and one that will be yellow. You saw me adhere together that yellow flower, and I repeated the same exact process for the yellow, just adding some little dots of glue here and there and adhering those pieces together. I want my flowers to stick up on this empty space of the band that is over top of the back side of the card, and that's going to leave you a place where you can write your message on that inner Z flap, or even if you wanted to write them on the back side of the flowers, you could do that too. I'm using my liquid adhesive again to adhere these flowers in place, and I'm going to just hold them in place and make sure that that glue has some time to bond the flowers onto the Z fold band. I'll just press that in place and make sure that anywhere that's overlapping that front left panel, I'm going to glue that down too. That's going to give me some extra stability, but make sure that you don't accidentally glue your flowers onto the back of that Z fold card. You really want the main adhesive to be on the band. You still want this card to open up in the fun way. I have used a sentiment from my stash, and I'm going to pop that up with foam tape on the left side of my Z fold card. And this card is finished. It's such a fun card, and I love that it folds flat so that you can still put this through the mail. Thanks so much for watching this video featuring the Floral Silhouette Kit from LDRS Creative, sold only at HSN. There are so many projects that you could make with these dies and stencils. Head to the HSN website. They have more project inspiration photos on their website. I'm going to show you another card that I made. It's the same one I showed in the beginning, but I just wanted to show you again what that other flower looks like. And instead of using solid cardstock, I used white cardstock and I ink blended behind the flower for a stained glass look. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye!